So Fortnite released this Cuddle Bun bundle that comes with this skin and 1500 V-Bucks. However, you only get the V-Bucks by doing daily quests in Save the World. Meaning, in order to get my money's worth out of this bundle, I would actually have to play Save the World. Gross. Now, I have played some Save the World a few years ago, but that was mostly just me messing around with friends. I didn't get to experience everything Save the World had to offer, and now that I have, I can definitely say this game is something. Fortnite Save the World was originally all Fortnite was gonna be, an interesting mix between a survival crafting and tower defense game. I have seen nothing but love come from this side of the community, even seeing a lot of people say that Save the World is better than the Battle Royale side of Fortnite. But that's other people's opinion. What about my opinion? And the only way for me to form my own opinion is to play the game for myself. Okay, so like, what is Save the World? Like, what do you do? Well, that's not obvious. Opening Save the World again after 2 years, I was immediately lost and confused. There's just a sea of menus upon menus upon menus. It was a little hard to understand how to actually play the game. Part of this is because I just haven't played in a while, but I also feel like it's because these menus just aren't straightforward enough. Here's a menu for quests, here's a menu for crafting, here's a menu for the survivors you rescued that I never understood how to use. You just readied up into a mission? Surprise! Now you have a lobby menu! I'm sure diehard Save the World fans can navigate these menus no problem, but as someone who hasn't played that much, it just feels cluttered. However, after a while, I did slowly start to understand it. The main menu you see when you open Save the World is your quest menu. This shows you your story progress and also different seasonal quests. From here, you can go to the map screen, and here you can pick a mission to play. Missions and quests are two different things for some reason. The missions are your primary objective. These are things like rescuing survivors or protecting a specific point on the map. And then your quests are other optional objectives while you play through those missions, like search 5 containers or killing a certain amount of husks. Once you're able to get into a mission, there's a lot less confusion. The missions themselves are fairly straightforward and enjoyable, with a handful of different maps to pick from, but I only really got to see forest and suburb maps. I'm sure there's other map types as well. At least I hope there are. Out of all the different mission types, I really liked the tower defense ones. It's the first time I've really enjoyed building in Fortnite. I didn't build anything fancy, just a few walls with maybe a trap or two, but it was nice being able to actually experience Fortnite's building mechanics in a low-stakes environment. In Battle Royale, building is fast-paced, but in Save the World, you have the time to actually build some interesting structures. I especially like these little forts you can find around the map that you have to build using edited pieces. It shows that there's more to building than just getting boxed by a 12-year-old. While I did enjoy a lot of these missions, it did start to get a little repetitive. There's only a handful of mission types to choose from, and while playing on different maps does shake things up a little bit, you're still doing the same tasks over and over again. For a rescue survivor mission, you just find survivors walking around or standing on cars, and you gotta kill a handful of husks that spawn around them. Then you just do that same task for 20 minutes while exploring the map, or you wait until your pulse stops. I just checked, mine's still going. I guess I might as well rescue some more people. Also, like I said at the start, my main goal was just completing daily quests, which are in their own separate menu, because of course they are. Because of my daily quest bias, there were times where I just picked an easy mission I had already played before just so I can get a step closer into getting my return on investment. And that didn't help with the repetitive feeling I was getting from Save the World. If you just focused on doing story and seasonal quests, the game might feel less repetitive, but I don't know if that's the case. The quests themselves aren't really that interesting. Most of the quests, you're just going up and pressing E on an object. Sometimes you do get a mission that's more plot focused, like this one about a building competition between Penny and Kyle, but for the most part, it's just interacting with objects, maybe killing a handful of husks. Man, I'm being too negative. Let's talk about something I enjoyed. The dialogue in Save the World has to be one of the best parts.
You may be wondering why I called you to the home base control center.
No,
Not really.
I'm mostly wondering how.
I said this before and I'll say it again. Whenever Fortnite actually takes the time to tell a story, they actually do a really good job at it, and Save the World is no exception to this. The lighthearted dialogue also kept the mood up and legitimately got a few laughs out of me.
Wanna get back in the trebuchet?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm pretty sure my leg is broken. But I can launch you.
Let's do it!
They also got a really good lineup of voice actors for this. They have Ashley Burch as Ray, who you may recognize as Aloy from the Horizon series.
Rather than hiding from the love lobbers' love bombs, we embrace the crazy. And we turn our lovesick crush craziness against the storm itself.
They have Elias Tufexis to voice Major, who's the same voice actor as Adam Jensen from Deus Ex.
Most love problems start at the hips. Eliminate temptations for hip shaking. That means dance floors. There will be no boogieing, no shimmying, and definitely no gyrations.
They also got Damien Haas to voice Dennis, which I was not expecting.
I just need to be alone, I think. Just gonna go throw rocks in the pond and be sad. Oh, great, there's a line!
I don't want to go over every voice actor, but they all did a fantastic job at this, and some of them even came back to voice other characters in later Battle Royale seasons. Actually, I'm curious, did Damien ever come back and voice any other characters? Yeah, he also voiced Jano! Speaking of audio, the sound design and music in Save the World is so good. The sound design has that same charm that Fortnite Chapter 1 has, and the music has this nostalgic feel to it. Something about this music just takes me back. God, that just makes me feel like I'm back in 2008 playing Jimmy Neutron Attack of the Twonkies for some reason. Oh, that's so good. Now, this is a survival crafting game, so what are my thoughts on the crafting system? I did not engage with the crafting system. I didn't need to. Save the World has changed slightly over the years. Some things from Battle Royale have worked their way into Save the World. Things like mantling, sprinting, turbo building, quality of life things like that. But more importantly, they added in wildlife from Chapter 3. I think it was added in Chapter 3, I'm not entirely sure. You can very clearly tell that animals were just kind of added in without any thought. But with this addition of animals comes the addition of glowing animals. In case you weren't around during Chapter 3, killing a bird or a frog that's glowing purple, it would drop an epic level weapon. In Battle Royale, this was fairly balanced. In Save the World, this is not balanced. Killing this one low health animal drops a completely overpowered weapon for where I am in the game. And normally like 3 or 4 of these things spawn per mission, meaning that I don't even have to bother with schematics. The only thing I had to worry about crafting was ammo and traps, which was honestly kinda nice. Like I said at the start, there's just too many different systems and menus that you have to keep track of. I haven't even talked about heroes or home base or loot boxes.
Yeah! Swallow the phone!
There's just too many things to keep track of that I feel kind of glad that I could just ignore some of these systems. Now, this level of complexity does mean that there's a lot to learn and experiment with. After putting more time into Save the World, I understand why so many people like it as much as they do, and I did enjoy some of my time playing it, but Save the World just isn't for me. It's trying to do so much at once that it's hard to understand where to go and what to do, and having to jump through all these hurdles just to play repetitive missions. Maybe it gets better in the late game, but I just don't want to put in more time to find out. I did enjoy getting to experience more Save the World, but I just don't think this game mode is for me. To be fair, Save the World is like, what, 8 years old now? There's a lot of cool ideas here, they just don't feel like they're living up to their full potential. If I'm being honest, I would love to see a second attempt at this. Think of it in the same way as something like Uncharted 1. It had a lot of good ideas, but fumbled some of the execution. Then Uncharted 2 comes along and refines that experience, keeping what's working and fixing what wasn't. I don't know how many of Save the World's original development team is still working on Fortnite, but I would love to see them take a second shot of making something like this. I know people have been asking for an update to Save the World to fix a lot of these issues, but at that point, you're probably better off finding some kind of story mode successor that refines the foundation that Save the World made while cutting back the clutter. And maybe instead of telling its own isolated story, it could do something like retell the story of Battle Royale? Wink wink nudge nudge? Like I said, I can see why a lot of people really enjoyed Save the World. There's a lot to sink your teeth into. And even though I won't be continuing to play this game mode, at least I got something out of it. And that was 1,500 V-Bucks and this cool skin I'll barely ever use.